Welcome back. Good to see y'all once again. Welcome back to JJ's PC Builds. You know it is JJ with you once again. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and make sure you got your drink and snacks, by the way, so that way you can join in with us on the video. No, you can just like and subscribe. It would help out the channel. And also, too, make sure you got your drink and snacks so you can enjoy the video, especially this live one. Okay, today we're going to touch up on what I was talking on, graphics card nightmares, a little bit, and talk about the 8800 and 8600 from AMD, and maybe a little bit of 50 series, and go on a little bit maybe of a rant. I might be wanting to go on a rant about it, because there's some things that I've been hearing that Nvidia might do that might be disappointing. So make sure y'all stick around for that. I know you probably don't want to hear the rant, but, you know, somebody's got to do it. Let me go ahead and announce to everybody that I'm live. If they don't know yet, I'm just going to put I'm live. There. Ding, ding. Okay. Now, I'll wait for everybody to pile in so that way y'all can get yourself prepared. And that way we can let YouTube catch up and we can make sure we have a smooth live stream today. Let's see, the B580. Let's type that in. And let's put the specs. And we're going to look at Tech Power Up. And we're going to do the B580 specs again. 580 specs. And we're going to go to Intel. And look at what they say for the specs. This way we can do I know a lot of people are curious on wanting to do a deep dive on the B580 because there's a little bit of question. My first question is this. They're doing the B580. They say, oh, it's going to be for $250. A low-end graphics card. How low-end is it? Well, if I go over here and, I mean, I'm going to type in Amazon. Oh, maybe I should take you guys along with me. So let's just go ahead and do that. So that way you can see what I'm doing. We're going to go to Amazon, and we're going to click on this, and still, I checked yesterday on Amazon when I was doing graphics card nightmares, and it looks like nothing's changed since then. You got the Wheelio, got the Gunnier, the Intel Arc B580 for $409. That's an A580. Don't get it wrong. Even though it says ASRock, A580 is different than B580. You got another B580 for $370. Another one for $400. A580. You got a B580 for $369. One for $409. And some magical numbers. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go to Newegg. Newegg. Hey, MTBK, good to see you, good to see you. Well, I just started. Well, I'll take my time. I'll go slow so that way you can know, I'm just going slow. You'll catch up. So, we'll go to Intel B580. 379, 429, 419, out of stock, 279. ASRock, Challenger, out of stock, 259. That's the cheapest one I've seen so far, was 259. They got this one, $10 more, 270. They got the Sparkle for 270. They got the Intel for 250 out of stock. And this is what I've been hearing. I'm gonna take my time so you guys can catch up in the chat. I'm taking my time. Just taking my time. My problem is this. And this is the problem I have with a lot of companies out there, that a lot of good gamers are missing out on this right here. I'm going to click on it. This is what they're missing out on. Okay? Because it's an Intel. This is what they're missing out on. The reason why they're missing out on it, number one, the scalpers got a hold of it. Number two, Intel is not building anymore. They only made a certain amount, and that's it, from what I'm hearing. I think that's crap. They should at least go 3 rounds of GPUs to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. No, what happens is the first 15 minutes, scalpers get a hold of it, boom. They sell it within between 7 and 15 minutes. A Newegg and Amazon. It's like in and out. It's like you barely even see it. It's like when people wake up, they don't have a chance to get it. And this has been happening with a lot of companies. Is they've been putting out a certain amount and saying after that, that's it. Until they sold out of everything from everywhere. They're not going to replenish anything. So they're using this field of, let me make more money and make it more expensive when I just told you the MSRP was cheap. Do you think the MSRP is cheap? No, it's not. They tell you, oh yeah, it's going to be $250. And then they get these people in there that jack it up to $400. And most of these companies are Chinese companies. They're not American companies. They're Chinese companies. Ugh. You know how I know? Let's go backwards. Let's go to Amazon. This company right here. This company right here. And it says from China. Says it's an Asus Intel authorized distributor. I doubt that. That's the brand. This right here is a China company. Okay? This is not an American company. This is an American seller in a China company. So they reserve the right to jack up the price to anything they want. I feel that if you're going to sell in the United States, you should be an authorized United States dealer. That means the money stays here. I know everybody's going to say, well, they say they're from ASUS. I mean, that says Wheelio ASUS Intel, authorized distributor. Okay? And they put a returnable until January 30th, 2025. So that means you got from now until the January the 30th to return it if you have any problems with it. But after that, you have any problems with it, you better hope you get onto a protection plan. You can get a 3-year for $49 or a 4-year for $63. You're only going to need a 3-year because they should have a 2-year manufacturer warranty, which they don't. Right here. From now until January 31st of next year. So you only get a 1.5 month warranty from the factory. The factory right here, Wheelio. You get a 1.5 months. Manufacturer warranties for products are usually 2 years. So they're giving you a 1.5 months. I think that's crap. Hello, Machine. Good to see you, bro. You're not late. I'm just getting started early. That just looks suspicious to me. Yeah, it does. I mean, bro, yeah, it does. I mean, it looks super suspicious to me. I mean, why in the hell are you going to charge right here $409? Why are you going to charge $409 for a $250 graphics card? And this has only got 12 gigabyte of GDDR6 at 192-bit PCIe 4.0 X8. You really think I'm going to pay that for that? Are you kidding me? Are you seriously sick in the mind thinking I'm going to pay that kind of money for that $75 cheap GPU? To me, it's a $75 GPU. Because if you're going to sell it for $250, I guarantee all the parts in there are not going to equal over $75. I know y'all are gonna bash me for that, but I'm telling you the truth. All those parts in there are only worth $75. And half the parts that are in there, I bet you any money that China used recycled parts. Like the RAM, recycled RAM, the diodes, the capacitors, the resistors, the ICs, anything they can find. And if they got a large lot of them, a big lot of them, I bet you that's what they did. And now they're trying to get $400 for a $75 graphics card. Listen. It might keep up at the speed of a 4060 on rasterization, but so will a 7800 XT against a 4070. But once you kick in ray tracing, you don't see it anymore in the background. It's gone. It's done. So you're telling me this B580 is worth that much? Okay, let's do this. Let's type in Graphics cards for gaming PCs. Let's be vigilant. Let's set the price at $400. And hit go. Let's set the base price at $250. And hit go. Okay, between $250 and $400. Let's see, we get a 3060 12 gigabyte. 3060 12 gigabyte. 7600. 4060. 4060 for $304. And they're charging $400 for that? Are you... Look, I can make this work anytime. This right here, even though I don't like gigabyte, I can make this work anytime. Just as good as the B580. And the 3060, I can do the same thing too. I can make it just as good. See, it's OC version. I can make it just as good. You know, 7600 XT for $314. It's below $400. I can make it just as good. Because it's 16 gigabytes of RAM. 16 gigabytes of VRAM, 128-bit GDDR6. I can still make that good. This right here, 7600 XT, I can make it run. This one here, Asus. Even this one. I like Asus better, by the way. That's 380. But I'd still make that card. That card looks good. 360. I don't think I'd go with 1660 Ti. I might because it's 6 gigabytes, but even a 7600 you can make good. And machine, I know you got a 7600, so you know. Hey, if the B580 is so good, Intel should make up its mind and publish an unlimited edition. No, they published a limited edition. MTBK. They published a limited edition. That means they're only making so much of them, and that's it. It's up to the AIB partners of what they making. And guess what? They only got, what, 6 AIB partners right now that are making the graphics card, that are not making the graphics card. Like, ASRock's not making the graphics cards. They ran, as soon as they ran out, they were done because they were scared. You know, let's get real with this. I don't like its backplate anyway. Yeah, it's all plastic. If you watch the review on, what was it? I think it was Gamers Nexus. He pulled one apart and it was a plastic backplate. Plastic. Where's the metal black backplates? They don't do them anymore? How are you going to keep those ICs and stuff cool in the back? That plastic is an insulator. These cards are doomed to fail because of certain stupidity. I know you might disagree with it, but they're going to fail. And I guarantee they're going to fail. They're not going to last as long. One, they get a plastic backplate that's insulating the heat, and it's not worth crap. Two, I would have made them metal backplates, and I would have, and I know you might say this might be cool, but they could have put something decorative in the back other than putting that boring crap they put there. They could have put something decorative on the back. Because that, you know, when you put it into your PC, that's what you see the most, is that decorative backplate. But they didn't do that. So it's not worth crap. Even mine being black, a blacked out version. At least I got a chance to put stickers over the back plate because guess what? It's got a black base. So, just saying, I'm just venting a little bit because this has got me a little bit deterred on, everybody claiming this is the next best thing. And from what I've seen and what I've seen on, the benchmarks and stuff like that, I see nothing but bullshit at this point. That's all I'm seeing. That's all I'm saying, So, maybe they charge $249 for the cooler itself. Yeah, probably. Because I can tell you, the only way that the internals, the PCB, the RAM chips, and everything else, Intel has to be giving it away to these companies to strap a cooler onto it because most of your price is going to be in your cooler. And the PCB and everything that's on it, the cooler is worth more than the actual PCB with the GPU. I mean, think about it. I mean, seriously, I want you guys to really put your mind down on this and think about it. When you got something that's this big, well, hold on. Let me bring you back. When you get something this big, and then your cooler's this big, from here to here, you got this much cooler, and you got 3 fans. The 3 fans alone, and that cooler, that metal that's in there, is worth more than the PCB, the GPU, and everything that's on inside of that, on that plate, on the PCB, the GPU die, everything. Because the GPU die can't be no more than $30. And I'm sorry to bash Intel like this, but the thing is this is snake oil. And you think that this GPU is going to last you a long time. It's not. Number one, if you go on Gamers Nexus, look at his videos. When he did the disassembly, he said the plastic back panel, which we all know is an insulator. Plastic is an insulator. Metal, you could use it as dispersing the heat from the chips. So those chips are going to get so hot and they're going to burn out just like that. You go run that at 100%, and you run it like that every day at 100% and overclock it, guarantee after 6 months, you ain't going to have much of a GPU. You're going to have a fireball. Complete fireball. That's just my point. Let's see. What'd you put for me there? Machine, what do you got for me? Yeah, I know. I've already seen this on e-waste. I seen that yesterday. I was bringing that point to you yesterday about going to eBay. That was my next trip. That was my next trip. But the trip I was going to make was I was going to go to Intel's website and show you all that the microarchitecture is XE2. It's only 5 nanometer. What happened to it being 4 nanometer? 4. It was supposed to be 4. And now it's 5. And it was supposed to be, the PCIe connector was supposed to be PCIe 5.0 X8. But no, it's PCIe 4.0 X8. Embedded options available? None. It has nothing available. So that means you can't get no more out of this GPU. Even if you go to add extra VRAM to it, you can't even do it because it's not available. This is very limited GPU die. XE cores, 20. Rendering slices, 5. That sucks. Ray tracing units, 20. Okay, now you go with any GPU that's got 20 ray tracing units. If you put my 4070 with 20 ray tracing units, I might as well throw that thing in the garbage. Right there. Because it's got definitely more than 20. Intel X Matrix extensions. Okay, that's more or less like using the MMX technology and expanding it to XMX technology. That's pretty much what they did. So that still ain't worth crap. You guys want to hear the truth? I'm going to put the truth down on you. They used it. Intel used to use what they call MMX technology. They now updated it to XMX technology, the engines. Okay? They had this way long time ago in the 90s. So we're getting a fresh update from the 90s. You think you're getting something new? I'm going to break it down to you. The X Vector is still, no, it's still the same crap. Graphics card clock, 2670. It only clocks out at 2.850 gigahertz. Now, you can push it if you got an overclock version to 3. And I did hear this. MTBK, your friend was right. It was 3.325. 3.325 gigahertz that you can push this up to. I already had a friend of mine check that yesterday because you said that. I had a double check on it and it was 3.325 gigahertz. So just to give you that idea. The tops in here are 233. Mine's got over 500, so I'm not worried about it. The TBP, 190 watts. They might as well say the TBP should have been 130 watts or 140 watts. Continuous gameplay is only between 130 and 135 watts. PCIe configuration we know is a joke. So, and the memory, 12 gigabytes not bad for the card because basically the new normal is 12 gigabytes. 192-bit, they should have went to 256-bit and left an option to upgrade the RAM from 12 to 16. 456-bit gigabits memory bandwidth. They should have had that at least 50 more. At least close to 500 for having 12 gigabytes of RAM. Graphic memory speed, 19 gigabits per second. That should have been at least 20 gigabits per second. For the $250 cheap GPU they made, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Display ports, it's got 4 of them. The HDMI is not the number one port anymore. The one in the center of the display ports is the number one port. That's another problem. HDMI used to be the number one port. Now they switched it to the center display port. And let's go right here. The features. AV1 encoding. It does have it. It only has one encoder and decoder. It doesn't have 2. It only's got 1, so we get it right. It's got the VP9 bit stream and decoding. So it's got a little bit of a plus. It's got the H.264 hardware encoder decoder. Okay, that's basically meaning that your CPU can do all the work while your GPU falls asleep. That's basically what this means. Unless you use AV1 encoding and decoding, which only can be used for live streaming. Now, they said that you can't use it for recording videos. I need to check more into that. You guys need to let me know what time it is about that. And let me go into the chat and see what you guys are talking about, and we'll sum it up right here. Okay. In terms of design, Intel 580 is a sleeper. Yep, I like how it looks. To me, I think it could have been better, MTBK. The plastic backplate is no issue for me personally, especially when I don't have VRAM on the back and I don't run the GPU at 100% all the time. Some people do. You got to give it consideration. You know, when and you being a gamer and wanting that extra little bit of push, you know, you have to put yourself in that kind of bracket to see where everybody else is talking about this. Because 40 to 50% of the gamers, they want the speed, they want the textures, they want everything. They want the 100+% out of that GPU. And if it can't give it, they don't want it. They want the power from it. You have to look at it in a different light. I look at both sides of the field. I look at how they look at it, and I look at how I look at it. So, I like how it looks too, yeah. But it could have been better. They could have put something decorative on the back other than just putting that little crap that they put on there. It might be snake oil, but I am not a normal user. Anyway, well, we all aren't normal users. That's the reason why we're here now talking about it. So we can keep track of its longevity. Well, I hope it does last a long time. But I have my doubts. I mean, that's what makes us all human, is when we put that doubt in there and we say to ourselves, okay, there's two ways we can look at it. One, we can look at it like, is it going to last a long time? Or is the, you know, when they're testing this, we all know they're doing a short-term test instead of doing a 24-hour test, continuous running it at 100%, breaking it in. That's what they call a break-in procedure. Now, you have to be very careful when you do this, but you can break your GPU in without breaking it. So it's got to be able to at least hold up to a 24-hour test. Now, if it can't hold up to a 24-hour test and stay between 60 and 70 degrees Celsius, then it's throw it in the garbage. Mine can do that all day. I can run my GPU all day long at between 60 and 70 degrees Celsius. All day long. No matter what I play or what I do, no matter if I'm recording or whatever it is, it's still going to do it. Right now it's running at 34 degrees Celsius. 34 degrees Celsius. And I showed you a picture of my PC in Discord. So you guys seen what it looks like. And if y'all didn't see what it looked like, we'll get to that. We will blow the picture up for you. And try to make it to where you can see it. We'll do that right now. So, here. That gives you an idea of what you're looking at. That's my PC right here. 3 fans here, 2 fans at top, 1 in the back. GPU sits here. Got a light bar that comes down here. AIO cooler that's on the top. And that's it. Doesn't look bad. So, keep that in mind. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it could look better, but, you know, at least inside it's all blacked out. You know, I like it to where it's all blacked out. I could have put a white GPU in there. I could have put some white in there to make it stand up, but I really didn't want it. I wanted it blacked out with RGB fans. And I got exactly that. Let's see. Scalpers in the secondary market. Well, let's talk about the scalpers. Let's talk about the scalpers. Let's get down on the brass tacks of the scalpers. Okay. Let's go to e-waste. I mean eBay. It is e-waste to me regardless. Because that's pretty much what everybody's selling. Intel B580 GPU. Machine brought this up. Right here. Gunnier. The same that they're selling on Amazon. Same price. Look where it says, from China. Gunnier, from China. Gunnier, from China. Got one sparkle left. One sparkle. Right here. Look at the price. You going to spend $450 when you can buy the 4060 for $300? I think you really need to think that one through. $379. Still, the RTX 4060 is $79 cheaper. Way cheaper than this. Way cheaper than this. Way cheaper. Way cheaper. I mean, these people are like going nonstop off this gun here. Nonstop. Here's an Acer. Look at this. $599 from Taiwan. $599. B580 for an ITX. Like they say, for an ITX. Okay, well, when did a 2-slot graphics card become small form factor? Better think about this. Small form factor is single slotted graphics card. If you consider that ITX, $399, $409, $409. Let's keep moving down. $339. Look at this. You can get an ASRock. What? You can get an ASRock. You can't find it on Newegg. And guess what? You can't find it on Amazon. For what? $450. Look at that. Last one. They're making a killing off this crap. All right, let me get into the comments. Because I want to catch up with you guys. Machine says, Morlaw Dad said that Intel is losing 20 or so per card for a limited edition. That's why they're not putting them out for sale right away. Well, they already put them out for sale. They already sold them, and they ain't putting out any more. That was it. The ones that they put out that you've seen on Newegg, that's it. So is MXX like CUDA for Nvidia? No, it's not. Definitely not. Termites are good. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel, by the way. I have a Win 10 and building a new PC. Can I put my Win 10 on my new PC? The drives wiped it into the new PC. You can put Windows 10 into any PC you want. You can put it in any PC you want. But here's the caveat. October 2025. That's the end date of Windows 10. Unless you pay $30 a year to get all the updates for Windows 10. So you're going to get less than about a year left of Windows 10 unless Microsoft says differently. But as far as we know, the end date is going to be October of 2025. But yeah, you can build any new PC with Windows 10 and it's not required that you have a product key. But unless you want, what do you call it, the personalizations to work, you're going to need the product key, which you can go on any one of these and get a product key for like 20, 30 bucks. If it's transferable, make sure you build a PC that you're going to use for a very long time if you decide to buy a product key. Because it's a arm and a leg trying to get Microsoft to switch that product key over to another motherboard. But they say they'll do it. Who knows? Pseudoscientist, good to see you. Didn't see you come in, but we're going to say hello to you. You are way too demanding. Am I? Am I way too demanding, bro? Just accept what you get and be a good slave. You know, I really wish I could, but these companies need to be called out for what it is, and nobody's calling them out. That's the problem. Except for Gamers Nexus of calling everybody out for the wrong reasons sometimes, but that's their game. That's their channel. They do it the way they want. But anyway, let's see. Building a PC. I want to wipe my drives to new PC without updating to Windows 11. Just wipe my drives. Well, you can wipe your drives at any time and use the same operating system. If they're secondary drives, you can wipe them anytime. But your operating system drive, you have to leave it intact in order for you to wipe the secondary drives. Basically, you can turn your computer off. You can plug them in as a secondary drive. You can go on Windows. Those secondary drives, you can format the drives, and they're fresh and ready to go. But when you go to install Windows on any one of those drives, you can wipe them when you go to install Windows. So you can save yourself one step and, just plug in whatever drive you want to wipe. And then when it gives you the option screen in the beginning, then you can take and format it right there and put new Windows operating system on the drive. So either way you can do it. If you want to eliminate one step, then just take one of your drives and make that the only drive in your system, unplug the rest of the drives, and that'll become your primary drive, and you can go and put Windows 10 on an SD card right here. Here, let me do this. If you got an SD card, you can put Windows on it. I would suggest to do that. Put Windows 10 on these. This is an SD card. This plugs into the USB connector. Put Windows 10 on there and then install it from there. And then you'll get a fresh install. But Windows 10 is not going to require you to have a product key. Windows 11 will. Unless you know the backdoor way to get past the open box experience, which they tell you on YouTube from any one of the reviewers. I even got a video on it, and you can go and bypass the product key for Windows 11 and go right into Windows 11 under a local account, because it'll automatically let you set up on a local account. So there is a way around the back door of Windows 11. Swipe drives. Well, you can swipe drives all you want. You can put in any drive you want, as long as it's compatible with your motherboard. I have my own old drives from 2009. Oh, they'll still work as long as the boot sectors are not damaged. They'll work. As long as you don't have any physical damage to them, they should work. I have the 990 M.2. Good one. Good one. Got a Samsung 990. That's good. I got a Samsung 990 and I got a Samsung 980. Oh, and you got the 970. 2 terabytes each. Not bad. They're pretty good. I was trying to be sarcastic. Okay, well, you can be sarcastic all you want, bro. That's why we're here. We're here to make noise. Hopefully we're making some good noise. SSD 860. Okay, well, they're still good drives. They're still good drives. I mean, if you want to swap drives, you can swap any of the drives. Look, Windows only requires a certain amount that they need for you to plug in the operating system to the SSD drive or a regular hard drive or however you want to do it. Okay, it's recommended use a solid state drive, SSD. The way I do it, I'm going to tell you. When it comes to the operating system, I only use a 1 terabyte drive because they're only like $30 or $40. Depending on the drive you want to get, I got a Crucial P2 M.2 SSD. It's 1 terabyte. But it works for me because of the amount of speed. It's perfect for PCIe 3.0, which I use it for. PCIe 3.0. And I have it plugged into a 3.0 M.2 slot. Now my PCIe 4.0 M.2 slot, I have my Samsung drive, the 990, has 2 terabytes of space. I use that as my swap drive. Now, as far as my storage drive, okay, I use a 14 terabyte hard drive, regular hard drive. Well, it's actually a EXOS drive, like a server type drive, and I store all my stuff there. But my operating system runs off of an SSD. My swap drive runs, for me doing video editing. And then all my videos get stored on a regular plattered hard drive. So, in total, I should have 18 terabytes. In total. So it's good enough for me. How do I know Windows 10 is compatible with my new motherboard? What kind of motherboard did you say you have? That's what kind of... I have slave drives. Okay, my friend, I want you to listen to me very carefully. The days of master and slave drives are back in before the year 2012. New drives that work now these days, there's no such thing as master and slave drives. They're all proprietary. They all operate under the same skin. They all operate under the same umbrella. Things have changed since then. Gigabyte Z90 will run anything. If you still got the regular hard drives that's got the master and slave pins, okay, I would suggest putting those away because that motherboard you got requires proprietary. So that means the newer hard drives don't have the pin selectors anymore. It's auto-selected, period. It's auto-selected in the BIOS. of the motherboard. So you don't need those pin selectors anymore. That is going to be a confusion thing for you. Okay? It's confusing. You don't need that anymore. Now everything's the newfangled stuff. Your M.2 drive is not a master and slave anymore. It's whichever one you choose. If you got like two M.2 drives on your motherboard, it's whatever one you choose to be the primary and everything else the secondary. Okay? You do that in the BIOS section. You choose your drives. Which one's the primary, the secondary, your first, second, third, fourth, and so on. You set your motherboard up and choose what drives which. And that's what it's going to letter it to when you go into your Windows Explorer, because when you see your drives, that's how it's going to be lettered out. Your first, second, third, fourth, and so on is how you set it up in the BIOS. So it's not that difficult. I mean, I had to learn too. Okay, believe it or not, it took me a long time to figure out the new system and everything else. I had to go from the 1980s and bring myself up to, where was it that I first was, like 2019. I had to start bringing myself into this new era. And then when it got to 2022, then bring yourselves up to date. 2025 is going to be totally different. There's going to be something better. So it's going to take time. You have to give yourself time. But next year, it's going to be a little more difficult because there's more that you got to learn now when it comes to setting up your PC. They're making changes. They're improving the... What was it? They're improving the BIOS on the motherboards and making them better than they are this year and last year. See, they're going to phase out sooner or later to a new BIOS for the motherboards in the following years. So be prepared for that to happen, because you're looking at a new ball game. So I have Windows on SSD 860, which is fine, and the M.2 games on a hard drive files. Bad unless you're running a SATA SSD. If you're playing Steam games, I'm going to tell you, I want you to hear me out. If you're playing Steam games, they require you to run on SSD. They're requiring now that you run on SSD drives. Either SATA SSD or you're running on M.2 SSD. But it's preferable, if you want more of a gaming experience, to run on an M.2 SSD if you got two SSD drives on your motherboard. So it's SATA SSD. I kind of figured that. Yeah. So I know about the Gen 14 surge voltage. If you're worried about, you want longevity out of 14 gen processor, here you go. Learn the undervolting technique. Your drive will last you forever. There's an undervolting technique you can use on 14 gen processor and get just the same speed without the same amount of power usage. So there is a way. And when I get a 14 gen processor, I'm going to bring it up here and I'm going to take and go through the BIOS with everybody and show you the difference between running it stock, overclocked, and undervolted. So I am working on that. It's a SATA SSD, the SSD 860. What do you mean by fix? What are you having? What kind of problem are you having with your SATA drive? That's the thing. Now remember, SATA is only going to run you up to maybe, if you're lucky, you might be able to get 1,000 megabits per second off of the drive instead of running an M.2 at the minimal of 3,000 to 4,000 megabits per second. You know, and that's on the read, and on the write, you might be able to get it like 3,500 on the write speed. So you shouldn't have to, that Z790 motherboard, you should have every tool in your box for that. They should have had all the tools in that box for you to be able to run SATA, unless you plugged it into the wrong drive. Now, the way they do these drives, if you got, let's say, if you got 3 M.2 drives, right? If you got 3 M.2s or 2 M.2s, the SATA drives 5 and 6, the plug 5 and 6, are usually not used. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is used. But I recommend only using 1 and 2, because that way you don't limit the lanes on your M.2 drives. Just using the first one and the second one if you're going to run SATA. The rest of them, leave them blank. But if you're going to run SATA, just do, I'm only doing one drive. I'm only using the first slot. And I'm using a 14 terabyte. A regular, not a SATA drive, a regular hard drive, and it runs just as good. I mean, I get like over 700 megs per second. That's all I really need. I mean, it's just a storage drive. I'm not using it for gaming. Now, if you're using it for gaming, I prefer using an M.2 drive because it's directly connected to the motherboard and it doesn't impede the speed. Now, using a SATA drive, running games off a SATA drive, it'll impede the speed. So I wouldn't recommend playing games off of a SATA drive. Hey, you guys can chime in anytime and, correct me if you want on this, but that's just my opinion, because you get at least above 4,000. You'll get way above 4,000 with that motherboard with an M.2 drive than you will a SATA drive. So, I mean, the 990 I will install on the first slot M.2. And the 970 on the second one. And the 860 on the SATA. That's perfect. I mean, just as long as you're just using one and you're plugging it into the first slot. Remember, they're numbered. You got the number 1 slot, and you got 1 through 6. If I remember right, you got 1 through 6, and then just use the number 1 for your SATA, and use, but make sure which drive you're using. Now, on that motherboard, the one that's closest to the processor could be PCIe 4.0. Now, the one that's below it on the other side, down on the bottom side of the motherboard, might be PCIe 3.0. Now, if it's 3.0, I would match an M.2 SSD to that slot. And I bet you your 970 would work good in there. But it's going to be at, instead of 4.0, it's going to be at 3.0. So the 970, I would make your operating system. Truthfully. Well, the secondary slot 970, I would make your operating system only. Just your operating system. Yeah. I'm going to explain this. My PC right now is running PCIe 3.0 on the operating system. It runs perfect. It doesn't need more than that. That's what you have to understand. If you're only using it for the operating system, it doesn't need more than that. It doesn't need more than that. Now, if you're running your games, I would run it on the PCIe 4.0 slot. I'd just format it, leave it blank, and take and download all your games onto it on the 990 and run it off of that. That's just me. I mean, all my games are run on my 4.0 slot. My operating system runs on my 3.0 slot. I have no problem playing games. None. I don't lose FPS. That's the thing. Yeah, but if you're telling me that your SSD, your SATA SSD, not M.2, your SATA SSD is running Windows 10, take your operating system off of that drive and put it onto the PCIe 3.0 M.2 SSD. Start there. Yeah, but I'm just saying, you have a motherboard that has the capabilities that you can put on the 3.0 slot, M.2 slot, your operating system, 4.0 M.2 slot, you put your games on, and then your SATA drive, use it for extra storage. That's it. It runs perfect that way. Okay, well, I'm just telling you the way I got my PC set up, and it runs perfect. I've not had any crashes or anything else. Perfect. 64 gigs of system RAM, RTX 4070, perfect. I'm happy with it. I mean, you got a rockin' motherboard, and if you got a 14th gen processor, I mean, as long as you got perfect cooling, that's all you need to worry about. If you got the perfect cooler for that, you got nothing to worry about. All I need is enough speed for the operating system, the game, and also the recording. So I have to see where I put the game on. Okay, MTBK. Like I was explaining to him, listen, your 4.0, now if you got a motherboard that has two M.2 slots, has one 3.0 PCIe 3.0 slot and one PCIe 4.0 slot, your 4.0 you put your blank drive on. Let's say you put a 2 to 4 terabyte drive on, and you format it and have it ready to go. Then you get your 3.0 slot that you put your operating system on. Just your operating system. You don't want anything else tied to it, because all the apps and everything that you download starts filling that drive. So you want that drive just for the operating system, the apps, and nothing else. Your games, the way Steam works, it plays off of the drive you download the program to. So if you're putting all your games onto that 4.0 drive, it's just using that 4.0 drive. That's where most of your speed is. That's where you get most of your speed. And plus, your drive's not filled up full of crap. It'll run perfect. It's because you got your games running here and you got your operating system running here. You put them together and they're both fighting. They're both fighting for access memory. They're both fighting for the access memory. But now that you split them apart, now you got your speed of your 4.0 drive that could run like 7,000 megabytes per second or up to 10,000 megabytes per second. And then you got your operating system right here just flowing right along and nothing, it's not even paying attention to the game. It just says, okay. It looks at the game. Okay, go ahead, turn on. It just suddenly turn on, turn off. It doesn't impede your operating system to cause your system to slow down when you separate the two. I learned to separate my games away from the operating system, and it makes it run totally smooth. So, NZXT water cooler, that's a good one. That's a real good one. This is my CPU, Core i9 14900K. Good CPU. 24 cores. 8 plus 16. Up to 6.0 gigahertz. If you run it right, I would run it at 5.7 gigahertz. At a steady of 5.7 gigahertz all day long. You can run it at 5.5 to 5.7 all day long, so it'll run just fine. What about the recording? Same 4.0 SSD? Yeah. Look, my scratch drive that I record my videos on go on the same drive as my games. I got 1 terabyte for the games. I got 1 terabyte for my scratch drive. Same drive. When I'm done recording the videos, they all go onto my 14 terabyte drive. So I take them, transfer them when I'm done. Once I upload the video to YouTube, that video automatically goes to my regular hard drive and doesn't get stored on the scratch drive. Once I'm done with it, boom, it's gone. It's in the master drive. So that's the reason why I have 3 drives. I have 3 drives. Not 2, 3. Well, I was just trying to break it down so that way everybody understands. Steam has put a notice out to everybody. You have to be running an SSD drive in order to play the games. In order for them to look proper and everything else, you need an SSD drive. Even if you're running an SSD on a SATA drive, that's not good. You're just cutting your speed of your games. You're making your games lag. So when you put it on the M.2, the PCI 4.0 M.2, and you got like 2 terabytes of it, that thing's going to run all day. It's going to give you great speeds all day. But if you decide to put it on your SATA drive, that's the big mistake. Just like your operating system, never put it on your SATA drive, because it's going to lag. It's going to actually lag your operating system to where, you notice your desktop moves slower. You don't want that. I mean, you want it to run fast. My desktop runs great. Right now, I'm doing this whole live show without running maybe 1% of my CPU. 1% of my CPU. And only 3% of my graphics card. 3%. When I made that big change, guess what? When I made that big change of how my PC operates, and just like I told you, it changed everything. Now my games run sweet. My recording, my videos, my live streaming's great. No problems. No hesitations. I like it just the way it is. So I'm running an R7 7700X and RX 6800. It's still a good It's still good PC, bro. Machine, it's still a good PC. Regardless, I'm the only one here with an AMD GPU. I have an AMD GPU, bro, but I gave it away. Don't ask me why. I gave it away. I had a heart. I gave it away. And I'm not going to tell you why I gave it away, but I gave it away. Let's see. Sorry, RTX 3060 because the issue is with cracking the RX 4090. Everybody has that issue, man. Don't you know? That 12 volt high power connector is everybody's legacy. That is everybody's legacy. So I don't have to worry about that with the 4070 is because this is the only version Nvidia came out with in this series with an 8-pin connector. 8-pin connector. I don't have that 12 volt high power crap. I got an 8-pin connector. I'm happy with it. And it can pull 200 watts all day long and not melt, so I'm not worried about it. So, 8-pin. Yeah, I'm a fan of the 8-pins. Look, if you can pull them up to 250 watts max without them melting, you can put 8 pins all you want. You can put 4 of them on my GPU. I would be happy. Those 12 volt high powers, forget it. They're not telling everybody the truth. They're lying to everybody about those connectors. They ain't going to pull 600 watts. Let me do this. Let me get a car stereo amplifier and hook it up just like the positive and negatives on that 12 volt high power and connect that to the battery of my car and see if that amplifier doesn't smoke that whole wire going from point A to point B and just burns it up at 600 watts. Guarantee that whole wire is going to melt together by the time I hit the first note. So that's how I tested my connector for my power supply, was using a car amplifier that meets the maximum of my power supply. And if my power supply can't handle that amplifier at 12 volts, at 750 watts, at 70 amps, there's a problem. So trust me, I test things very carefully. That's the reason why I like my 750 watt power supply, is because it handled what I put it. I tortured it, and it still handled. I'm happy with it. Ugh. Let's see. Jay loves the high power connector. Man, screw that high power connector, bro. That high power, they can shove it right back up their yin yang and reformat it again. It still ain't going to impress me. Trust me. That connector doesn't impress me. Especially with over the tens of thousands of GPUs that have been burned up. The 4090s, tens of thousands that have been burned up that no one reports on. Those repair shops have been making a killing ever since the 3rd month of the 4090s. They've been making a killing ever since. They've been getting paid big money to get those fixed. Man, screw them. The 4070 has 8-pin connector. I'm happy with it. And it's been going ever since I first bought the GPU. Plugged into the same slot, plugged in with the same cord, plugged in with the same everything. It's still going. So that will get him. Yeah, machine. That did get me that got me riled pretty good. You're right. You want to hear something? Sure. I'm running a game unsupported GPU GTX 1050. Bro, you know Steam's getting ready to kick off GTX series from their site. They're moving all the games away from GTX to RTX. That was leaked to me about, what was it, yesterday. That's what I wanted to talk to y'all about today, too. That's what I was going to bring up. That they're going to start weaning GTX off of all the games and moving it over to RTX. So you might want to think in the future going to RTX if you're on GTX. MTBK says, do we really talk about the 12 volt high power connector? Not really. We really don't talk about it that much in Discord. It lags a little. You can tell, but it's funny. Yeah, I know. But with the price of GPUs now these days, you can still find a good one. Just like MTBK loves the B580 from Intel. You know, if you can find it for $250, it'll be about the same price as it was a 1080 Super. I mean, you go look for a 1080 Super used, and you'll find it for the same price as a B580. So, yeah, I got you. The card itself, where the PCI inserts, is too heavy. On the RTX 4090. Yeah, I would never plug RTX 4090 into my PC. Even though that I have the room for it, I don't want to have to go use my car jack stands, putting it into my PC just to hold up the graphics card. Ain't happening. I know y'all are going to say, why are you going to use a car jack stand? Well, you ought to see that. I mean, this thick, it's like sticking a brick in your PC and asking a little thin, you know, X16 slot connector that's about maybe a 1/16 of an inch thick to hold up a brick. Come on. That's just ridiculous. They need to change that, and they need to make it a dual. Instead of X16, they need to make it X32. I would like to see an X32 slot to where they got them side by side and they plug them in. That would be something that would be new. So, sorry everyone, my fault. For what? What'd you do? Machine, what'd you do, man? I'm catching up with the chat here. I never knew that. My new build is 3060. For the price you're going to pay for the 3060, you're best to go with the B580. It's got the same amount of RAM, but it has more speed and better ray tracing than the 3060. It's already been tested. It's already been proven. Plus, it's cheaper than the 3060. So, just to give you that idea before you decide to buy. And let's see who's barking at me. Oh, that's cool. I ain't going swimming for the graphics card, bro. Machine, I ain't going swimming for that graphics card, bro. No way. And you got fish in there too? Oh, man. Here, let me see if I can do that as a live video. Oh. Oh, you got that off a tenner, bro. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Close some of this crap. Oh. So, close some of that crap. All right. Yeah, no dust. I got you there. All right. Let's see if I froze. No, I didn't freeze. Ugh. Time to fill up my cup. You guys got a plugged up nose now. Oh. Reason why I got a plugged up nose is because of all the dust that's around here. Let's see. Sorry, Jade. Discord. Not mine. Well, I seen that. You pulled it off a tenor, bro. I already know where you pulled it from. Don't ask how I know that, but I know that. So, I am paying attention, just to let you know. So, God damn it. Fucking, ugh. Sorry. Just hate when the lid gets stuck and you can't put it on. You gotta do this with the lid every 5 seconds. Oh my God. Oh, all right. Oh, I gotta get rid of this plugged nose. Sorry, y'all. You're gonna hear me go in a plugged nose. Put it in the Discord link for teammates. Okay. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll open it up. We'll put in the Discord link for team. Oh, you want me to? Oh, okay. I got you, bro. I got you. Let's see. We'll get you. We'll get you there. The thing is, I got to remember how. It's been a while. Okay, we got it. Look, if you guys want to become a Discord patron and join in the fun, then all you got to do is ask for a link. We'll send you a link and hook you up. Like now. So, we got you the link, and there you go. Now, if you want to see the fish bowl that we're all talking about, there's the fish bowl. That way you all know what we're talking about. So, I do agree, Machine. It is great, bro. It is great. I do agree. Yay! Yay! I'm waving. There, you're in. We are on. We are on the general text chat. Termites, we are on. We are here. We are here. There. So you know which one we're talking on. One that says general text chat, that's the one you want to be on. The PC channel is where everybody's invited into. So there's kind of 2 steps when it comes into Discord. So we all live on Discord. So I figured I'd just put that there. Actually, MTBK, you could have what they call a false front to where it looks like water's filled in there or oil or whatever. Because what you can do is you can take the tank, you could do a separation of how tall your graphics card and everything is, and then you can put what they call false walls all the way around the bottom, and then you can fill it in with the liquid. And they got glass glue. Okay, if you use glass, they got a glass glue that will actually seal that part away from your CPU. Now in the back, you could have ventilation. It's easy. I've known that. I've seen them made before. That's the thing. I've seen them made before. They are pretty cool. So, no dust to worry about. Yep, true. And you can feed your fish at the same time. And plus, during the winter season, you can keep your fish warm. Just remember, don't overclock your PC because you'll boil your fish. You will boil your fish. So don't overclock your PC. They actually did this on YouTube. Yeah. Some people got their own ways of doing things, but I've seen it done. You know, I've seen it done before. But they done it with an AIO cooler and ventilation so that way you don't boil your fish. You don't want to boil your fish. If you're going to boil your fish, you might as well have sushi. You know. So, that's just my thought, you know, truthfully. Rule number 1, keep the fish warm. Yeah, it'll keep them warm, all right. But the thing is, it depends on what type of fish they are. They might want like 80-degree temperature water. And then some fish want 33-degree temperature. Some you need to hook up like a little refrigerator underneath just to keep them cool. If they're Alaskan saltwater fish, yeah. So, keep it about 33, 34 degrees. I like mine to where they move slowly and they're in cold temperature water. So, it's pretty cool watching them when they move slow because they're like in slow motion. Water and electricity, not a good match. Yeah, I agree to pseudoscientist. But hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? Only thing I don't like about that is the separator piece. Is because you can see where the separation piece is. They should have floated another piece and floated like a border ribbon around the front of it, like a black border ribbon, and put a light there. That would have made it look even cooler. Put some RGB there. Put a black border ribbon and put some RGB around it. That would have made it look cooler. I think it would have. So. Okay, you finally made it. Good, bro. Glad you made it. Okay, let me minimize that garbage. And open up new garbage. Okay. Now we need to get to the juicy stuff, guys. We need to get to the juicy stuff. We're kind of veered off course a little bit. So let me type in video cards. .com. We've veered off course. Okay. Now that we're going to veer on course, let's go back to the action screen. This says here from videocards.com, GeForce RTX 5070 Ti reportedly features 16 gigabytes of GDDR7 memory and the GB203-300 GPU. I think mine's the 104. Mine's the 104-300. Let me look. Okay, there's a reason why I'm saying this. Let's see, 4070 specs. And yes, I don't have a tight memory to remember every little thing. So, yes, I got to look. AD 104. Okay, we're right there. No, it's the 250A1. It's close. It's the AD 104 250-A1. So that means it's revision A1. So then that means there's one card before this. Unless this is the first revision. No, wait a minute. This has got to be the first revision. Because the Super didn't come out till later. And the Super didn't come out till later. The TI didn't come out till later. It was the 4070, then it went to the 4070 Ti. Am I wrong about this? I'm trying to I know the 4070 came out first. Then it was the 4070 Ti. And then it was the 4070 Ti Super. And then it was the 4070 Ti Super. And then it was the 4080 Super. I'm not worried about the 4080 section or the 4090. It's just the 4070 section I'm worried about. See. Okay. AD 104-250-A1. Okay. Let's see. 4070 Super. You'll see where I'm going with this, guys. Just be patient. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. $350A1. Okay. Now let's go to the 4070 Ti. Forgot specs. This one is the AD 104-400. Okay. So you guys see where I'm going with this, right? That's the 400. This is the 350. This is the 250. This is the This is the first revision of AD 104. No, bro. No, This right here is the 4070 Ti. This is the first revision of the 4070. This is the third revision. This is now the second revision. Even though this came out later, the Super came out later, they made the Super the second revision, and then they turned around and made the Ti version the third revision. Am I wrong about that? I'm trying to. I thought the 250 was the first, which the 4070 was the first one. It should have been. 4070 Ti first, then the 4070, and then the 4070 Super. How did I get it so backwards then? The 4070 Ti Super is the AD 103. Because if you look at the 4070 Super, 4070 Ti Super, sorry, specs. It's right here. It's AD 103. This is the same processor as the 4080. Same processor as the 4080. See? Now, if you look at the 4080, it's AD 103. See, it's AD 103 400. So the Ti Super is AD 103 275. It's 400 275. The higher the parts, the more numbers enabled. Okay. The lower the numbers, the more parts of the chip are disabled. Okay. The best AD 104 chips were used for the 4070 Ti. Okay. I'll agree with you on that. I'll agree with you on that. The ones with the most defects were the 4070. I kind of disagree with that. I run the 4070. I've ran it pretty long time, and there is no defects. I have no problem whatsoever with mine. And as much as I can run a GPU, I can push this to the max, and it still holds up. If there was defects, then it would crash more times than AMD's 7800 XT would have. Now, believe it or not, the 7800 XT crashed more times than the 4070. And this one never crashed. And the 7800 XT crashed on me twice. So, like I said, I know how to run a GPU. I know how to run a CPU. I know how to set a motherboard. I know how to do all that. I'm not scared to push my stuff overclocked to the max. I'm not scared to undervolt my stuff to the max. Simple. .4070 Ti Super is also vastly disabled, but yeah, it's a bigger chip. Yeah, it is. Defects, I mean, part of the AD 104 chips were disabled. It doesn't mean your 4070 will fail. Well, you know what? Yes, it does. I'm going to disagree with you on this for one time. If you got defective parts in your GPU or your CPU, and they disable those parts, in time, the heat transfer and everything will mold those ones that are not running into the ones that are running. So the defect will start to age. And as it ages, it'll start shrinking things and pulling it closer together, causing a contact. And once it causes that contact, it's going to automatically turn on the ones they turned off. This has happened. This is a part of the defect that these companies have in these CPUs and GPUs. I've seen this many times before. You get an old GPU that hasn't been used in like 10 years. You go to plug it in and turn it on, and then it starts doing things that you wouldn't expect it would have done back 10 years ago, because it starts enabling parts. We all know that all GPU, the way they save money is that all of them are made the same. Every one of the GPUs, CPUs are all made the same in the processor part. They turn things off by a program that's built into a chip that controls it. You can change that. There's a mechanism in that chip you can change. If I wanted more than what I have now, I can go in and poke on that chip. Even your graphics card's got a BIOS on it. It's got firmware. It's got a BIOS in there. Your graphics card does. So does your motherboard. You can go in there and poke and turn things on that these companies hide from you. They have programs that you can go in there and poke. They're not totally hidden. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, this is very bad. I mean, the 4070 is not supposed to run at a high voltage. High voltages, power, or temperature. Damn. So the 4070 chip is not a cut down chip of a larger one. No, it's not. It's the same one. It's just there's a BIOS firmware that restricts certain parts of that GPU die to be turned off and certain parts for it to be turned on. That's how they control it. But you can go in there and change the BIOS and change the control part and giving yourself more than what you're supposed to get. All you got to do is watch for how much cooling that you're using with that GPU. The GPU die. Make sure you got adequate cooling to keep it cool. That's it. It hasn't been tested yet, machine. If you're wondering if the 4070, this is questions I had myself, if the 4070, the GPU die will run into the PCB of a 4070 Ti. The way they got the PCB pre-set up on the 4070 Ti, could you transfer the 4070 to that PCB for the 4070 Ti and get the speeds of the 4070 Ti? That's kind of a question that's up in the air now. That's something that I've been thinking about quite a bit. But you wouldn't want to take and do it the other way, because if you take a 4070 Ti GPU die and put it on a 4070 motherboard, the PCB, you could lose speed because of the firmware that's on there could automatically bypass like it did on the first processor. So, are you going to win anything? No. Are you going to lose something? Yes. You could lose a lot of cores. You could lose, pretty much all the capabilities that you had with the 4070 Ti. Part of it, not all of it. Because in overall, and I'm going to explain this, the way the software works on all 40 series GPUs, it's all the same software. It's one software for all the graphics cards. But in that software that Nvidia sends you, the only thing that's changed is the markers, where it's the designated markers to where they designate it for each GPU. But it's still the same software. Nothing changes. Can you override the firmware? If you have the right program and you have the right BIOS flash, you have to have a BIOS flasher that you can hook up to that chip, and you have to do it through a program on your PC to rewrite that chip. Yeah, you can rewrite it. So, the chips are flashable. And I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but with your GPUs, it's not wise to mess with the firmware that's on the BIOS on your GPU, because it's set to that GPU. Now, let's say if I took the GPU die off of 4070 Ti because the chip on my 4070 was bad, I probably could take that firmware and copy that firmware off of that GPU BIOS that's on that PCB, transfer it to the 4070 motherboard. Now, as far as the operation, that's another thing. Because it's got set gates on that PCB for everything to open and close correctly. If one of the gates are not, if the components on the PCB are not close to matching what's on the TI motherboard, then it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to transfer the data from the one BIOS to the next, basically. My 4060 laptop GPU has all core and all cache enabled, plus the 0.845 volt limit. Will it run forever? Yeah, it will. Anything that goes above 1.5 volts right now on a processor will kill it. Anything above it. So that's why they tell you never go above 1.1 volts. Period. Never go above 1.1 volts on your processor. Never. Laptops are designed to run at that amount of voltage. And actually, that's not voltage, that's 845 millivolts. I think. It's in millivolts. Until it hits a volt. So, that's just my opinion. Okay, back to getting on track. Since we were talking all about this, 5070 Ti. Guys, I've said this 1,000 times. I'm going to say this 2,000 times, 3,000 times, and 4,000 times. This is going to be the shiz. The new shiz in the 50 series GPUs. This is going to be the baller. Is because it's going to come out with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Guarantee Nvidia's probably, I'm not going to say if they're going to do this or not, and I really wish they would, make this a $700 GPU or $600 GPU. Mainly a $600 GPU for a 5070 Ti, 16 gigabytes, $600. If they make that $600, nobody's going to touch this. As far as crying about the prices, at $600, this having more speed on the RAM, more speed on everything. 16 gigabytes. It's going to play games like a monster. You're not going to be able to touch this. Not even with nothing in the 40 series. Maybe it'll probably be just as fast as a 4080. Approaching the 4090. It's going to be that fast. Yeah, it's millivoltage, bro. RX 8800 XT versus the 5070 Ti battle for $600. That's what, yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see. Now, let's see if they're talking about the 8800. Let's see. Video cards.com 8800. Okay. And believe it or not, this is what's coming out. AMD confirms Radeon RX 8600. There's no XT on it. And RX 8800 RDNA 4 GPU series. Right here. Buy a code. This right here means to about 53% of the consumers, this don't mean nothing. They don't even know what this means. A consumer's not going to know what this means. This right here is the bootloader, GFX 12. That means GFX 12. That means DirectX 12. RX 8800. And GFX version 12.01. Huh. So it's going to be DX 12.1 on the 8800. And the 8600 is going to be DirectX 12. So it looks like the 8600 is not going to be as popular as the 8800. It could be by the price, but I can tell you, and this running at DirectX 12.1 is not DirectX 12.2. There's a DirectX 12.2 Ultimate. This is not the DirectX 12.2 Ultimate. This is where everybody's going to really be busted on their mind. I bet they will all support DirectX 12.2. You think they're going to... This right here doesn't even say... This doesn't even say it. It says they're DirectX 12, yeah. But this says it's the first one, the first version. This says it's just DirectX 12. This one says it's DirectX 12.1. I mean, that's what they're putting out here, and that's what I'm reading. I mean, if it's DirectX 12.2 Ultimate, then you won't have any problem with what do you call it? That one engine everybody talks about, Unreal Engine 5. So, because Unreal Engine 5 runs best on 12.2 Ultimate. So, it seems everybody thinks that they're going to be getting a ball buster from AMD. No. You're not going to be getting what you think. Look, if they're putting this out here, this is what it's telling me. And me doing this over 30 some years, I can read that. It's common sense. I mean, I'm not going to BS you guys. I'm going to tell you the truth. And for what it's telling me, that's all it's telling me. I mean, it's not even, I mean, if they put 1202, then yeah. If they put GFX 1202U, then yeah, it'll be the DirectX 12.02 Ultimate. But you get what you get. I can tell you my 4070 is DirectX 12.2 Ultimate. So, see right here. I'll blow this up for you guys so you can see it better. Right here. Right here. 12.01. It's right there in black and white. Black and white. Let's pull it up. Read the codes. DirectX 11. DirectX 12. DirectX 12.1. Why would they lay out support for DirectX 9? Oh, it's layout support for DirectX 9 or later. Has a BF16D type support. Continuous. It's been years since I had to do this. Oh my God. Well, that's not bad. It's got a high blast. Oh, it's got a high support. Okay. FP8. Wow. FP8 support. $8,600, $8,800. I'm just reading through the codes. I'm just reading GFX, DirectX 9.41 and DirectX 9.42 for MI300. We're not messing with data centers. This is for a data center. So that's what that means. The MI200, MI300. That's for a data center. And this says DirectX 11 for the RX 7900 XT. Or no. Whoa. That's not an XT version. Guys. Okay. That's a 7900. Whoa. 7900 specs. If video cards has this, I'm going to be shocked. Ryzen 9 7900. That's desktop processor. GPU. Oh, okay. That could be the GRE, or it's not a GT. It's not an Nvidia. Whoa. Doubt it's a processor. I doubt that's a processor. Looks like, guys, man, my migraine is killing me. Pain sucks. I agree, bro. I agree with you too, like Pseudoscientist does. I agree with you both. DirectX 12 Ultimate 12.2 RX 7600 due to tech power up. That's 7600. But this is 8600. Different architecture. This is the 8800. Different architecture. Let's go backwards. I doubt it's a GT. That's an Nvidia GT. So we're going to have to go a little bit deeper. Well, they have it as an XT, so it's 4 nanometer. That's what they're saying. So it's an MCM chip package. So I wonder why AMD would do such a thing, and it reduces the featured API. Do they love Vulkan so much? I don't get it. Yeah, I think so, bro. Let's see. 1.3 on Vulkan? Usually, isn't it 1.4? OpenGL should be 4.7. This one's 4.6. OpenCL should be 2.3. This is 2.2. Yeah, I don't. This is DirectX 12.2. So, but why did they say 12.1? That's the question. I don't know why they didn't say 12.2. They said 12. I don't know why they said 12.1 when they're putting here 12.2. Something ain't right. Something's not grazing me. You know, I'm not getting what they're talking about here. So it's not making sense. Basically, it seems like AMD's putting everybody on a what would you call this? A treasure hunt. Basically, everybody's hunting around for the information to find out what AMD's doing. So it's more or less like a treasure hunt, bro. And that's what I'm feeling they're doing right now. It's like a treasure hunt. Machine, that's funny. I read what you wrote, bro. That's funny. So, yeah. AMD Treasure Hunt. A hype design for gamers. Yeah, basically it is. Basically, this is what, when you got, how many lifetime gamers you got out there that are on this treasure hunt? Millions, bro. Millions are on this treasure hunt. And they're all searching around for the information. They're pulling it here, pulling it there, pulling it here, everywhere. They are on a treasure hunt to find out what AMD's doing. They're doing the same thing with Intel. They're doing the same with Nvidia, Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, ASRock, NZXT. You know, many of the companies out there. All the companies. Everybody's pulling. It's a treasure trove. Basically, you're on a treasure hunt to find out the information so you can be the first one to get on YouTube and say, hey, I'm the first one to get the information. You guys can do it. Get my point? It's the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life that people do to make a video. Me, I make a video when I feel it's warranted. I make a video that's trying to be appealing to everybody. I'm not flooding the internet with stupidity. Ugh. That's pretty much what everybody wants to do. Flood the market with stupidity. And when people make real videos, nobody wants to watch them because they think that you're in the same bracket as the stupidity. That's the reason why we don't have a lot of, subscribers. Is because they're putting me in the category of the stupidity when they should be pulling me into a different category. It's called common sense. God damn. I'm tired of fighting with these big reviewers, and they're putting nothing but stupidity out there. They're putting bullshit out there. They're making everybody think that this is not good, that's not good. They're not giving you the truth. You think they're actually, and this is what pisses me off, do you actually think they're actually going to show you how they're benchmarking? That they're going to sit through a whole video and show you how they're benchmarking to teach you something. I will get me a benchmarking stand. I will point my camera down to that benchmarking stand, and I'll have two views going on. One of the benchmarking and one of me benchmarking. And you can see the numbers. And what's legitimate. Do you think it's legitimate just showing me the benchmark numbers? No. How do I know you did it right? Think of the common sense. When I benchmark, I show you guys what I'm doing on screen. Every time. Every time. I show you from the beginning to the end. And I wish the viewers would understand this. If they want to build themselves a perfect PC with no issues, they'll start learning from the right people. Not the ones that go off on a rant about this company does wrong, this company does wrong, this company does wrong. I'm not going to rant about it. I'm only going to talk about the products that I don't like about it. They can make all the products they want, but if the product's not good, and this is my old saying that when I started this channel to now, if the product's bad, I'm going to tell you. If the product's good, I'm going to tell you. Either way, I'm going to tell you. Point blank. If the product's shit, I'm going to tell you. If it's great, I'm going to tell you. End of story. It's called common sense. I'm not going to rant about NZXT and their marketing because it sucks and everything else. Why would I do that? I don't buy nothing from NZXT. It's because I don't like them. And I got to rant about them. I don't like them, period. End of story. Just like Gigabyte. If they learn to fix the foot on their GPUs and fix their motherboards where you can read them and it doesn't look like it's rocket science, then yeah, I'll like it. I will like Gigabyte. I like Asus. I like MSI. I like ASRock. You know. I have no other choice but to like Nvidia and AMD and Intel. So, all the other companies like Sparkle and all them, Power Color, they're really good companies too. I got a Power Color, RX 7800 XT for AMD. It's not bad. So, Oh, it's the epic rant. Most common sense. Amish people in Pennsylvania would recommend your channel. Still, I think AMD 8000 series graphics cards will feature DirectX 12.2. We will see. Yeah. Look, MTBK, I'm going to tell you this. Okay? I want you to hear me out. All graphics cards do DirectX 12.2 Ultimate. Period. All graphics cards will do a spectrum of DirectX, starting from DirectX 9 all the way up to DirectX 12.2. Spectrum. All of them do it. It's up to the companies like Intel, Asus, and Nvidia to make sure their driver software will support DirectX 9, DirectX 10, DirectX 11, and DirectX 12, and DirectX 12.2 Ultimate. Their software has to support it. The hardware already supports it. They build the hardware already supporting this fashion. It's the software you have to worry about. Even the 10 series. Yeah, even the 10 series. Well, actually, no. The 10 series and the 16 series, the GTX series, won't support DirectX 12.2 Ultimate. Maybe. If there's a software adjustment, it'll support it. If there's a software adjustment, basically like open source software, if there's an adjustment, yeah, it'll support it. Maybe. And do remember, I have the GTX 1650 in my other computer. So I know what it does. Sounds fair. Much like they ran the RTX voice on a GTX 1650 via its shaders. Yeah, pretty much. Oh. God, my nose is really plugged up today. Sorry, guys. I forgot my nose spray. It's back over there. I just was too lazy to, shh. What the hell, man? Like, whatever. Okay, so getting back to, we're going to go a little bit extra today because I need to go this extra mile with you guys because you need to know what's going on. 8800 XT, Navi 48. It's got 4,096 cores. What Figure what GPU has 4096 cores or compatible or near at. Well, I can tell you the 7800 XT is close to it. And this just reminds me of a push of a 7800 XT. I'm sorry, you can't tell me any different. I mean, you can't tell me any different. If I got all this crap going on. Let's see, let me move this around. Let's do this. Let's do 7800 XT. Okay, we got 78 to get the 88. Let's close this up. Let's close this up. Let's close this up. Got these two. Let's close this up. Let's close that up. Let's close that up. Let's close that up. And then come back and close that up. Close that up. Okay. Move this over and start here. 7800 XT. Now, get it in frame. Tell me what you see wrong with this picture. Tell me what you see wrong with this picture. So you can see it. 7800 and the 8800. Tell me what you see wrong. They give you more TMUs with the Navi 48, and they give you a little bit more cores, but that's all you're getting. Got a vacuum cleaner? Oh yeah, thanks man. That'll really help me. Compressor turbocharging, eliminating the COD with brute force. Yeah. I think Tech Power Up doesn't have better inside information than anyone. Better. Well, it does. I agree. So the data for the future hardware are quite alpha and beta. Yeah. We're looking at this current generation. We're looking at next generation. 78 to 88. Okay, it's both the 800 series. Both on the same series. One's 7,000, one's 8,000. So we're looking at, and I tell you, I know you guys love me doing this. I got the good old calculator out. So we're going to take 4,096 and minus the 38, just to be accurate, 40. So you're getting, and we're going to look at this right now, because when this comes out with the price and you see a $429 GPU here and you see a $600 GPU here, and you're going to tell me what is wrong with having only 256 more cores. This only has, the 8800 XT will have 256 more cores than the 7800 XT. And if this is $600, just to say, because they were talking about it and it's leaked that it was going to be around $600, you minus that from the 429, so you're going to spend $171 more for how many cores? Really? So you really need to think about this. I mean, I thought about it. Not a lot of people are thinking about it. So you got one that's on 5 nanometer. Okay. This one's going to be 4 nanometer. They don't know how many transistors, die size, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we know, blah, blah, blah. So, originally, it was $500. Originally. So, if they go by MSRP, then we're all screwed. So, look at the clock speeds. 1295, 1295, 12, 2124, 2124, 2430, 2430. Look at this. Do you see something wrong with this picture? Do you see something wrong with this picture? Okay, let's move down. Oop. Let's see. Do you see something wrong with this picture? Am I imagining this? These are 2 different specs. Let me go to the rendering. Okay, that's about as best I can do on the rendering. Okay. Oh, a little too much. Okay. We all knew the shading units. We all knew that it was going to be 16 TMUs more, same ROPS, 4 compute units more. 4 compute units. Look at this. Tell me what's wrong. What's wrong with this picture? They're not the same picture, bro. They are not the same picture. They are not, look, they are not the same picture. Not the same. That's what's wrong with this. I mean, let's go and look at let's go look here. Okay? Let's be honest with each other right now. Okay? Let's look. 233.3. Okay, this is how I know they're not the same. Look at this. 583.2 gigatexels, 622.1 gigatexels. 74.65 T-flops, FP16, 2-to-1. Look what this is. The 8800 XT, 39.81 T-flops, 2-to-1. Why does the 7800 XT have more than the 8800 XT? Think about it. Think about it. Yeah, it's only got 4 more compute units. I mean, this is not brain science here. This is looking at the newest one right here, on my right here, on the right, and seeing that the 7800 XT in their theoretical performance is better than the 8800 XT. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong with this picture. I'll leave it up a few minutes and let you guys decide. I mean, it's common sense. This is telling me how bad this GPU is going to be. And I don't mean bad as bad to the bone. I mean bad as purely bad. When your 7800 XT is going to be twice as fast than the 8800 XT. If I push the 7700 or the 7800 XT, it will run way faster than this. I'm like, good God. I saw this and I was like, no, this cannot be happening today. This cannot be happening. I saw this earlier. I was like, no way. I told you guys I was saving some stuff for you today, and I'm saving it for you, and I'm telling you today and what it's looking like. So yeah, I don't even have computers, so only thing wrong with these pictures is that I don't have AMD graphics card. Well, I do, and I don't like it. Now I don't. After seeing this crap right here, this one being the 7800 XT here being faster than the 8800 XT, and they're going to sell us this crap for $600? No way. I'll stick with my 4070. Just wait for the gaming benchmarks. I know, bro. And you will see the 8800 XT is faster than the 7800 XT. Do remember, I tested the 7800 XT, so I really want to see these benchmarks on the 8800 XT. I really do. I know what to expect. I'm not going to be gaslit. Trust me, I'm not. And that's what I feel like they're doing, is they're gaslighting everybody on these results. Why do you think I started this channel? Because I was tired of everybody telling everybody lies and gaslighting everybody. I'm sorry, to me it was bullshit. I would sit there and watch YouTube on the TV, right? For many years, I was watching all these reviewers. And I'm sitting there looking at my testing compared to theirs. I was like, no way. This is not possible. This is not possible. How many people they've been gaslighting? Look, I've been doing this for years, yes. And yeah, I don't have a lot of equipment because when I was in Florida and I came to California, I lost everything. Okay? I lost all my equipment. I don't have anything anymore. I'm rebuilding. So I'm starting all over from ground zero, building up. That's the reason why I'm building this channel, to make it better so nobody feels like they're being gaslit. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to tell you the truth. That's the thing. Truth will prevail. If AMD gives us a 599 GPU that has an RTX 4080 like performance, they are in good position. Yeah. Just like when they're supposed to do the 7900 XTX and it was supposed to be faster than the RTX 4090, and they gaslit everybody, and told everybody, oh, it's the next big thing, and then turned around. It couldn't even scratch the nuts of the 4080. Really? Yeah, I know what they said. You know, when they did that presentation for the 7900 XTX, I was rebroadcasting it. We were all watching it here. And they were putting some bad numbers on Nvidia, talking some bad trash, and then turned around when it came out and all the benchmarks came out. Guess what everybody said? It wasn't D's nuts. That's what they weren't saying, D's nuts. They weren't turning around gaslighting anybody then. One, they first had their first problem. The cooler malfunctioned. The cooling cooler on those GPUs malfunctioned. So it took them 2 to 3 months, or maybe 4 or 5 months to fix it. And then had bad driver issues. So it took them another 6 months to catch up. I'm not going to lie about it because that's the truth. I'm not going to gaslight it. So you tell me, even when they fixed the problem with the 7800 XT, whatever that is. And that's got a problem because I can't, I should be able to run MSI Afterburner. Let me, so you guys can see what I'm doing. I should be able to run MSI Afterburner right here with AMD Adrenalin. It won't. It crashes. I either got to take out AMD Adrenalin in order to run MSI Afterburner, or I have to take out MSI Afterburner to run AMD Adrenalin. And if I run Adrenalin by itself, it still crashes. What did AMD fix? They didn't fix shit. So you guys don't hand that to me. They haven't fixed nothing. Their software still sucks. And it will continue to suck. As many years as I've been building PCs, I can tell you there's not one AMD GPU that's ever held up to the fashion of any one of these companies, period. They are ATI, period. The company ATI, and there will still be ATI drama queens until the day they come up with something better on their software. They suck. ATI sucked. So either way you look at it, one hand washes another. They're still using the same formulas that ATI used to use. What did they learn? They didn't learn to build from scratch and start it all over again. No, they bought a company with a bunch of dum-dums and, they're not building anything new. Everybody thinks, because he threw in all this RAM. You know what? So what? It has nothing to do with the GPU speed, the texture quality. How many times did they have to gaslight you on FSR 3 when you were on FSR 2? How long did you have to wait for FSR 3? We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. They haven't got it done. They still haven't got FSR 3 correct. And now they're working on FSR or RDNA 4. Going from RDNA 3. My bad. So, why do you think everybody in MTBK, like you said, why is everybody running to the game consoles? Because they're getting better. Why are they getting better? Is because they might be using AMD hardware, but they're using Sony software. And it's not AMD software. It's just drivers updated by Sony. They're not running Windows, Microsoft Windows. They're using Sony software. So now you know why we're getting the shit end of the stick and not getting any of the speeds that everybody's praising about consoles, is because they're giving us the crap. Wake up. AMD is bad when they panic in a rush and launch. Yeah, I agree. Well, the ATI Gecko ran well in a Nintendo GameCube. Yeah, in the GameCube, but that wasn't legitimate full 3D graphics. That was fake graphics. Like frame generation. Fake graphics. That had more screen tears on the GameCube than anything. Unless you're using a CRT monitor, then you wouldn't see it. My bad, the IBM processor was called Gecko. The ATI GPU is called Flipper. Yeah, I agree. Either way. You can call it whatever you want. China made a 2,750 PlayStation 5 in a laptop format, no battery, and 17.3 inch 4K display, 60 hertz. Okay, well, so they didn't want to degauss it to 120 hertz. and give you a better gameplay and lower screen tear optimization, but they're still selling you a crap. Okay, basically what you're telling me. I'm just taking what you're telling me because if they ran it at 120 hertz, that would have minimized the screen tear and would have made it look a lot better at 4K. Anything over 120 hertz looks like crap. Unless it's a CRT monitor, if you know what that is. CRT monitor has a better look overall because there's no settings. It's a CRT monitor as is. No settings. So even FF7 Rebirth has some graphic problems. Yeah, I was hearing that. Wasn't that because of that illuminated lighting that they're coming out with? Sorry, guys. It's supposed to be that Nvidia is supposed to come out with that new illuminated lighting that I heard. So, yeah. It's supposed to be something new that Nvidia was putting out. And it's supposed to be a feature that's added into the DLSS 3. Daniel Owens, yeah, we know who he is. So we'll see. Yeah, well, if he does, then more power to him. I'm going to check on some of the games I got and see if that illuminated lighting's there. And if it is, then next week on the live feed, we'll do a stream on the game if it's got the illuminated lighting so we can see what it's about. If y'all want to wait until next week, we can do that. So that gives me a little bit of an idea to take a peek. But I'll take a peek through some of the games I got and see if I can get it working on those games. Oh, so you changed the settings on the game so you don't have to worry about the lighting? I got you, bro. I got you. Well, guys, this has been a fun adventure that we took today. Very fun adventure we took today. I'm going to go ahead and start winding it down. I mean, wind it down, but... Okay. Overall, the conclusion that I got is this. I think, in my conclusion, that the 5070 Ti is going to be semi-good as long as the price stays down around $700 or $600. You're welcome, machine, and see you later there, pseudoscientist. But just my little conclusion about the B580, that's your choice if you want to buy it, but I can tell you right now, you ain't going to pay $400 for it. So that's what it's going for right now. I would wait unless you find another outlet that you trust, that you can buy from, that's selling it for $250, then that would be the route to go. So, but that's just my opinion. Unless you're really needing something and you don't have a lot of money to spend and you want to get something to get you by, then yeah, basically the B580 will get you by until you save up your money and get the next best thing. So, but me, I would deal with the graphics card I got, save up my money, then go buy the next best thing. I wouldn't use a graphics card to go in between nothing, just to tell you. But anyway, let me see what MTBK said. Screw Unreal Engine 5. Screw Nanite. Screw. There's a lot of screwing, bro. We want the good stuff, thanks. Pseudoscientist says Nvidia will be going for the high-end market. Will charge a lot. Yep, I do agree. They are. But if we can get away with getting a 5070 Ti, 16 gigabyte for $600, I bet you I'll save my money. What about you? But anyway, it's been a fun time, guys, and I do agree with MTBK. And I hope everybody has a great day. And if it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. And if you don't know where it is, it's somewhere on the page. I'm sure you'll find it. And also, too, turn on your notifications so you know when I post the next video. And remember, every Saturday, 12 p.m., right here on the channel, live, Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you're here. But until the next time in the next video, and we'll see you on the next one.